Hey everybody, it's Mace1370. So I've recently hit Legend in RTA for the new season after a little bit of grinding, so I thought I would do a little video showcase of the different units that I used along the climb to get there. Before we get into it though, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Also, please check the video description below for a link to my Discord. So we have a new season here in RTA. I pushed a bit to hit Legend, just got to the point cut off yesterday. Had a pretty good win rate along the way there. I was shooting for 80% and fell in just shy at 78%. I blame Stanley PP for sniping me at the last minute and winning, so it's all his fault. The unit that we're going to showcase today is Falconer Fluri. I used her in quite a bit of the matches along my climb, and even though I did a little bit of a showcase for her a few weeks ago, I felt like those matches didn't really show her being, really strong and popping off. And I had a couple matches where she really performed well, so I wanted to showcase those. I've shown her gear before, but I'm going to do it again really quickly just so you have some context for how she's performing in these matches. She has very premium speed gear with defensive substats that rolled pretty well and a touch of effectiveness. Her gear is very good, so it's going to be a long time, if ever, before I get an upgrade. And so it may not get there, but I would like a little bit more of effectiveness and maybe a little more speed, with these same defensive stats. So we can go over these two matches, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so we start the first game. I've been playing a lot of Protect the One, and if you've played those comps, you know that pre-banning Basar and or Tea Time Tenebria is very important, or a strong strategy to do. I have first pick, so I pre-ban Basar, and this lets me first pick Fallen Cecilia, who's a soft counter to Tea Time Tenebria, due to the way that Fallen Cecilia's shields work with Tea Time Tenebria's single, buff strip mechanic. Because the shields are there, if your units are slower than Fallen Cecilia, like the rules of the game state, the shield will be stripped by a single buff mechanic instead of the immunity on that character, which means that none of Tea Time's buffs will land. So the opponent takes LR Crow and Remnant Violet. It seems a little early for Remnant Violet here. I take Spectre Tenebria because she's a good DPS in this situation, since Remnant Violet is not able to, reach her easily. And then I take Falconer Fluri because she's a good counter against Remnant Violet. She can strip away his evasion. There's, I think, several different Remnant Violet counters you could consider in this situation. You could take Solitaria, you could take Briarwitch Aceria and Flurry. You could also take Blue Crow. They're all reasonable counters to him in this scenario. Here I take Flurry because she's a speed contester in and of herself. And if I took Biceria, the opponent could potentially take a speed threat, that could outspeed me, like Flitica, for example, and that would cause me problems. So now the opponent takes Landy and Tea Time Tenebria. The Tea Time seems like a bad pick here because I already have two soft counters on the board. I have Fallen Cecilia, which I've already, described, and then Falconer Fluri is really fast, and she can just lock down the Tea Time by herself. It could indicate that the opponent is pretty confident in the speed of their Tea Time Tenebria, but I wouldn't be, just because a lot of Flurries are, 290 speed, and even if your Tea Time is 290 speed, there's a chance that she'll outspeed. Maybe that's just my playstyle. I prefer not to flip the coin. Here I take Briarwitch Aceria, and I think this actually might have been a mispick for me. My intent was, this will be a counter against Rylet and Landy, but if the opponent bans my Flurry, then I'm in trouble because my Biceria outspeeds my FCC, and she won't have that protection against Tea Time. And then I take Little Queen Charlotte. So I kind of put myself in a position here where I have to ban the Tea Time, assuming that they're going to ban my Flurry. Instead I decide to flip, a coin and ban the Lulu, thinking that they're banning my Fallen Cecilia. Just given the fact that they took another damage dealer there, I think they're just trying to rush me down, so I kind of read the situation correctly, I guess. But that could have been bad if they banned Flurry instead. I think I probably would have lost. But they didn't, so we get to see the match. Okay, so my Falconer Fluri does outspeed. I elect to Soulburn here because if my Flurry misses, then I just lose. So she has to lock this Tea Time down and prevent her from popping off. So I think that is well worth, the souls and cost of admission to this. This allows my Biceria to go, and strip the opponent's team and put up buff block. Unfortunately there you see a Moonlight Dreamblade procs on the Rylet, but I do get the buff block on Crow and on Landy. Landy was probably the most important one to hit there. If she was able to hide in stealth, that could have been big problems for me. So the Rylot goes into my Little Queen Charlotte, almost one-shots her. And then here comes Crow to finish her off. So unfortunately this is not an LQC debut, so she dies and goes away. And now Landy's going to get to go. Also unfortunately I did not get attack down on the Landy, so my Spectre Tenebrae took a fair bit of damage there. I decide to go ahead and use my skill 3 into the Tea Time Tenebria since she has defense break, and this will definitely one-shot her. So this can push my opponent's team back and give me, you know, a CR advantage. And now I just go into the Landy here. I get a lucky dual attack, but unluckily I do not get the defense break. So Rylot goes ahead and he chips down my Viseria, putting her to invulnerability. Got a miss there on Viseria, which is unlucky. So now I have to kind of decide what I want to do. I'm a little afraid that my team will not be able to out-sustain this, since I just have Fluri and Spectre at this point, but I can go into the Landy here and kill her. So I'm hoping that my Spectre Tenebria is able to just avoid this Rylot, and I can cycle my team until the Rylot, or until my Falconer Fluri's S3 is available, so I can strip away his evasion. Unfortunately, he is able to go here right when my Spectre gets up, so unfortunately the Spectre is going to splash into him, trigger his skill 3, and then kill the Spectre. So if my Spectre had outsped there, I would have been in way better of a position, because she would have, even if she missed the Rylot, he wouldn't have triggered his skill 3. And now I could have used my skill 3 on the Rylot to kill him. So I'm looking at the CR bar here, and I realize I need to kill the Crow, and I need to kill the Rylot. So I have to just poke the Crow and save my skill 3 for when the Crow is dead, and it's just me and Rylot. And I also want to time it so that Rylot is all the way back at the end of the CR bar. So now is the perfect time to do it, since I'm going to be able to hopefully strip the Rylot, and then I'll naturally outspeed him with my Fluri. Unfortunately, the Rylot does not get stripped, so he still has evasion, but he at least has defense break here, so he's going to be still, you know, taking a fair bit of damage. So we were able to chip the Rylot and kill him for the win. Okay, so here we go with game 2. I have first pick again, so I'm able to pre-ban the Basar. The opponent pre-bans Emil Tywin, which is, you know, one less thing to worry about, I suppose. I first pick Fallen Cecilia. The opponent takes General Purgus and Eller Crow. So they're doing the Golden Boy strategy. So I have a few options here. I could take Landy. You know, she can be really good into the Golden Boys because they all provide, you know, like, for example, Eller Crow provides immunity, General Purgus provides attack buff, and that'll give Landy stacks and help her ramp up her damage in her S3s. Another strategy you can take is to take Spectre Tenebria, who is difficult to reach after their initial onslaught, so if she can survive, then you're in a good spot. And I take Falconer Fluri because Fluri will enable me to lock one of them down. Spectre Tenebria will give me souls. If I need to soul burn the Fluri, I can, against a high ER target. I can also just go for like LR Crow or G-Purg and then just Spec Tenny into them and kill them, and kind of deny my opponent a bit of reach. The opponent takes Landy and Diane, so they have 2 attack buffers now and a Landy, and I don't have a ton of reach into the Landy, so one consideration I have is I need to take some sort of AoE damage into her or AoE debuff, something to break her out of stealth. I have first turn here pretty handily since I have the fastest unit on the board. I have 2 more picks left and the opponent only has 1 pick, so if I want I can just ban their last pick and I will absolutely get first turn. So this means that I can take Ravi here. I can also take a debuffer like Tea Time or Viseria. Either one would be fine. since there's a high ER unit on the board in Diane, I think tea time is probably a bit better since she can potentially reverse provoke Diane and prevent her from cleansing everyone. So I take the tea time. It is a little bit of a risk in that Landy might just, she might miss against Landy because of the grass element, but I think more likely the opponent is just going to ban the tea time. So it doesn't really matter if I take tea time or Bisaria. I think either one of there is just going to get banned. And then that will give me Ravi, which will be another DPS I can, smash into defense break on the enemy side after Fluri defense breaks them. The opponent takes Cerise, and for me that's a pretty easy ban since Cerise will really control my Ravi. I have no way of cleansing or doing anything, and Cerise will give her slow, she'll stun her, it'll be just a nightmare. My Ravi will not be able to handle that Cerise, so I have to ban her. So now I have Falconer Fluri, and luckily I have souls from the book on Spectre Tenebria, which means I can lock down this Diane here by soul burning my Fluri's S3. And since my opponent probably does not have very much mitigation, like maybe they have a damage reduction artifact on Crow, but more likely it's symbol or portrait or something like that. I should be able to take out this Diane pretty quickly here since she's defense broken. I decided, just to go ahead and I rip this. Either Landy or LR Crow is going up next, so the skill null is going to mitigate a large amount of their damage. Thank you, Crypto. He is ever vigilant. So I don't think Landy and G-Perk are going to be able to take out my Spectenny here. And my Spectenny still has immunity, so I don't have to worry about her getting stunned. Unfortunately, the Ravi does get stunned, but that happens. And now I can just go into the defense broken Diane and take her out. So Diane is dead, and that means that my opponent has, essentially no sustain for their team. So now it's kind of a race. Can they kill me or can I kill them? I have sustain at least. I have my shields from Fallen Cecilia. They have dual attacks, and I have healing from Falconer Fluri. That's a bad provoke for me, since now my FCC goes into the GP and CR pushes the team. What's nice for me is that Landy does not get full stacks there, so she's not able to S3 again. And hopefully I can break her out with a Spectenny skill 1, but that does not happen. So GP is getting pretty low. I could have gone into him, I suppose. I just didn't want to CR boost the Landy anymore, since she's going to be able to put speed buff up on the team next, and that's just bad news for me. I wanted to delay that as long as possible. So hopefully he misses the Ravi here. It looks like he does. So that puts me in a good spot. My Spectre is still alive. And since I don't have a ton of buffs, it's going to be a little while. I think she'll get at least one more turn before she dies. And we get unlucky again and go into the General Purgus. But he's almost dead. I don't know if he has skill 3 here or not. Looks like he does not. So he provokes into the Ravi, but at least here she kills him, so the enemy team does not get a CR boost. And that's pretty much game. The Landy does not have skill 3 for a while. I can use my Fluri S3 here, but it honestly doesn't matter. The LR Crow is 2 turns away from his skill 3. I do it just to try to get him dead as soon as possible, because once he is dead, then I can attack the Landy freely, and there's no way a Landy is going to solo my Ravi. And Falconer Fluri. And that's game, so thanks for watching.